guys, welcome to another episode of Freedom Finance with Lanny. We're going to have a little fun, a little conversation today because you know I've been investing in dividend stocks for about 14 and a half years. Got a losers, got a bunch of winners. Again, it's the long-term game here. But today I thought to focus on three of my best winners in my stock portfolio. So three of my best stock picks I've had since I've started investing, but not just, hey, here are my three best stocks. That'll take like 3 seconds, but I want to really hone in on why they became the three best performing stocks in my portfolio over my 14-year career, because you might be able to take a little bit of something from it as you start investing into stocks or creating a dividend income stream by buying dividend stocks. Again, this has helped me kind of look at my past to see why it made sense and helping me make other future better decisions, hopefully when buying, individual stocks per se. So let's dive in. Again, this will be my three best performing stocks, in my portfolio and the why they are the three best performing stocks. Let's dive in. Well, first, let's get into one of the first stocks I ever bought. They weren't the first stock. That goes out to, I believe, Pfizer, which is ticker symbol PFE. But one of the first 3 to 5 stocks I bought was Visa. Ticker symbol is V. I think we all know, look at your cards, look at your credit or debit cards. I can guarantee it, one of those is probably a Visa, branded card. So that was one of the first stocks I bought, and it turns out it's one of the best performing stocks I've ever owned and still own to this day. Probably have owned for almost 13 years. So over that time period, my return is pretty insane. In fact, I've returned over 1,400% since I've owned it. Yes, that is with a comma on the percent of return. I invested $372 from way back when I was 2 years old. No, I'm kidding. I was probably 21 years old when I first bought Visa stock, scrambling every single cent together back when stocks used to cost $10 to trade. So there's probably even a trading fee in that $372. $372 is worth almost $5,700 in total value. So over the course, it's returned over 1,400%. So why Visa? Why has that performed so well? Well, since I've owned it for so long, think about all of the untapped markets way back in time, in the other countries that weren't really into the, debit credit card market yet. So that was a lot of potential that Visa had to grab more market share. So that was the potential for Visa. And not only that, it was a brand that I understood. They were there to provide processing of transactions. Everybody used Visa. Everybody accepts Visa for the most part. So if you're a merchant, you're going through, more than likely a Visa network to process a transaction. As an institution and a card holder, you're probably going through more than likely a Visa processing rail when doing a transaction. So Visa takes a little bit of piece of every single transaction that happens on the sell side and buy side. So they're loving everybody swiping their card. They don't care about the rewards. They don't care about the interest rate. They care about the interchange fees that they are earning for processing those transactions. So that's the first, stock to talk about. And again, it's because of the potential in all of the markets and how important they are in processing of the, billions of transactions every day. So they're getting a piece of every transaction. Very easy to understand. The second one of the longest term holdings, but the second biggest return that I've had goes out to Lockheed Martin. Ticker symbol is LMT. In fact, my $2,005 investment's worth almost $19,000 to this day. So when you think about it, that return from a percent overall has been over 842%. So why has that stock performed so well? And how could you take that into looking at other individual stocks that you're looking to buy? So the contracts that they have are with the U.S. government, and they're in the defense industry. So as long as the U.S. wants to have a defense, whether it's to protect or to fight, typically they contract with one of a few providers, Lockheed being one of them, General Dynamics being another, and there are a few other bigger players, but Lockheed gets long-term big dollar deals, and the barrier to entry is fairly significant. So that's why that stock, I believe, has performed so well. More spending by the government, which means more money gets allocated to Lockheed Martin on contracts, which means more revenue, more earnings, more growth. So that's why Lockheed has performed so well and is one of the top 3 stocks that have performed well in my portfolio. Last but not least, and again, we're talking about the best performing, not biggest stocks in my portfolio. I did do a video on that you can check out, on the YouTube playlist here. But it's going to go out to a name that you probably wouldn't guess. No, it's not AT&T. No, it's not Verizon. Definitely not. It's not Pepsi. It's not Coke. It's not Johnson & Johnson or Aflac. We're actually talking about John Deere. Ticker symbol is DE. Now, back, I don't know what year this was, probably in the 2015 era, I invested close to, I believe, $2,000, and that is worth over $11,500 now. So approximately a 500% return since owning John Deere stock. So the question is, why has that performed so well? Well, I think it's the old Warren Buffett, don't ever bet against the U.S. or bet against the U.S. economy. John Deere is into building, construction, et cetera, they kind of go hand in hand with Caterpillar. So John Deere is constantly in construction, deconstruction of properties. The U.S. hasn't gotten smaller. They continue to build houses, build commercial buildings. They're constantly involved in the evolution of our infrastructure here in the United States. So I believe that is why this stock has performed so well, because in every project, they have a chance to win that project, whether it's government-based or commercial private-based. John Deere is heavily involved, again, in the construction industry, and their name is very prevalent. Their machines obviously are very prevalent. Not to mention, at your house, you might even have your own John Deere for your yard. But again, John Deere. I know the first thing that always comes to mind are the lawnmowers and the turnstile, et cetera, but don't forget about the excavators, the bulldozers, and all of that. The real big dollars. I don't think they care about the one machine equipment that you have for your backyard. They're really into the larger sites and larger projects. So that's why I think they've done so well. So that's the 3 stocks. 3 stocks that have performed insanely well for me: Visa, Lockheed Martin, and John Deere. One, because every single transaction is almost tied to a Visa transaction, so they're getting a piece of every single thing. Second, Lockheed Martin, because of the U.S., the spending on defense, and having a chance to win a contract. John Deere, because of the growth of the U.S. economy, they're going to have a piece of that infrastructure, whether it's deconstruction or construction. So let me know, what are your best performing stocks that you own, what you learned from it. And hey, do you own any of the 3 stocks that I mentioned? Let me know in the comments. And again, if you guys haven't, subscribed to this channel, like this video, and I'll be coming out with much more content to hopefully help you on your journey to financial freedom. Again, this is Lanny from Freedom Finance. Catch you on the next one.